hit record. I'm recording it right now. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know how to do that. I haven't figured that out. So ask me something besides whether or not you can record this, which apparently you can't because I don't know how to make that happen.
Do you got like a rubric on the test or something?
Well,
Not like a rubric, but like a
it's multiple guess and true false.
No, I didn't mean to say like rubric. I meant to say like, like sometimes they'll give us like a subject to look at. I kind of don't know what to ask because I don't know what's on the test.
Okay, well, is there any from chapters 1, 2, or 3 that you would like me to go over? Anything about ethics? Anything about ethical relativism? Anything about judicial review? Anything about the Articles of Confederation? Anything about the steps?
Would you go over judicial review?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one because that's pretty much what your essay is about. So judicial review, we said, was the idea that the Supreme Court has the right to look at laws that are passed, both at the state and federal level. They have the right to look at and see if executive actions or executive orders, if those things are constitutional or unconstitutional. And if they are unconstitutional, if the Supreme Court finds that in some way that law, that statute, or that order somehow violates the federal Constitution, then they may strike it down as unconstitutional, and then that law becomes null and void. That law is not a power given to them in the Constitution. That law is a power that the Supreme Court gave to itself. Does anybody remember how the Supreme Court gave that to themselves?
Through the hitting laws. It's like Vaughn there doing. Well, it started with V, like V-O-I-R.
No, there's always a V in the middle because that stands for versus. It starts with M. Marbury.
Oh, Marbury versus
Marbury versus Madison. So it's always Marbury v. Madison. There's always a V in the middle of every court case. So the court gave themselves that power to determine if the actions of the other branches are constitutional or not. The founders never wrote that into the Constitution because that would give the Supreme Court power over the other two branches that it was never intended to have. But the Supreme Court gave it to itself. And now how do you take that away from the Supreme Court? What would be the only way to do that?
Create a law.
Nothing. It's a trick question. There's no way to take it away. Now that the Supreme Court's given it to itself, you couldn't have a law that takes it away because the Supreme Court has already said it is their constitutional right to do that. So anything that's already in the Constitution can't be unconstitutional. That convoluted and I'm so sorry. But anyway, there's nothing we can do about it now. The Supreme Court has that right. They gave it to themselves, and that's the way life is going to be. And then we went through and we showed examples of that. And we showed specific examples through court cases on how judicial review gets used to determine whether a law can be upheld or not. And specifically, we talked about how the court used judicial review to uphold the civil rights legislation that was passed by the Congress. And so how did the Supreme Court decide that the government did in fact have the right to enforce civil rights legislation?
Through the Constitution?
Yes, but we went through specific examples.
Could you repeat that one more time, please?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention either.
Oh, Lord. Why do you tell me you're not paying attention? I'm up It's raining? I'm cheerful? All right. So how did we go about seeing this judicial review in action? How did we see the court, for example, looking at this federal rights legislation, the civil rights legislation, and saying, yes, actually, the federal government does have the right to regulate that?
So you said it was civil rights?
Yeah, with civil rights.
Um,
Well, I know you gave us like was this the example with the restaurant?
Mhm.
But then
Uh,
interstate commerce.
okay.
Yeah, this is why I spent like a whole day and a half on this.
The interstate commerce.
Right. They were able to link it back through the specific power of interstate commerce. And they said that civil rights legislation is an extension of interstate commerce. I think if I were all of you, I would go back and read those notes and check those cases out again. Remember, that's Katzenbach versus McClung and the Heart of Atlanta motel case. I think I would take a look at those again, because this is going to be your essay on Thursday. I would really be able to understand this and put this in writing. This is like so important to me. This is like, I mean, if I had 2 books on my nightstand, it would be the Bible and the US Constitution. Let me tell you, I love the US Constitution. So I really would make sure, and I know them both about equally well, so I would make sure that you read through this and understood these notes on judicial review.
What was the name again?
One of the cases was the Heart of Atlanta motel case. It's in your textbook. Let me find the page. It's in the textbook on page 43. It's in that back section where it says cases for analysis that nobody ever reads.
Is it called Marbury versus Madison, one of them?
Oh, Marbury versus Madison is the case that actually established judicial review. That's the case where the Supreme Court established the policy of judicial review. And then going through some of the civil rights cases, one of the ones that you should know is the Heart of Atlanta motel case. Another one is Katzenbach versus McClung. Another case that we also talked about was Roe versus Wade. That wasn't civil rights, but that was an example of how the court used judicial review to strike down a state statute. I think we might have also talked about Griswold versus Connecticut. I don't know if I gave you the title of it or not, but we talked about the case where in Connecticut, it was illegal to purchase contraception, even for married couples. And then that got struck down too through the process of judicial review. So you might want to look that up, Griswold versus Connecticut. And also we talked about, like the bakery cases, all of that, that we talked about. So you might want to go through and look through your notes and check out the names of those. And I would just write it all down and sleep with it under my pillow. I really would. I think it's just so important. And then you'll see it again on your final. I swear to Buddha, you will. I'm not a Buddhist, but I swear to Buddha a lot.
I have a question.
I got an answer.
I remember one day in class you were going over how it's like in a specific court case you'll have somebody versus like the government or like the U.S. I was confused with that. Like how does that happen? Like how can the government be represented like that?
Okay, in a criminal case, the government is always the plaintiff, always. So in that situation, in a criminal case, the government is always the plaintiff. The government can be the defendant in civil cases, but it's always the plaintiff in a criminal case, because in a criminal case, it's either the state government or the federal government that's coming after you. We don't go after each other for criminal laws, for crimes.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Thank you.
Can we go over some vocabulary?
Yeah.
To make sure I got all the vocabulary. I'm not sure if I got them all.
Do you want me to pull it up out of my head, or you have specific words that you want me to go over?
Can you go over all of them?
Every vocabulary word I've ever given you? Yeah, I'll go over a bunch of them. Let's see. Who remembers what utilitarianism is? You know, it's okay if you don't know. If you write this down and look it up, you'll be set. You'll be fine for Thursday.
What's-
Utilitarianism,
Utilitarianism.
and ethical relativism.
Ethical, really?
Right.
And the social contract theory. Remember, let's see what else. Vocabulary words. Common law. Who remembers what common law is?
The law that's not actually written inside the everyone. Oh,
Yeah,
the
that's pretty good.
law that's not written inside the Constitution. Wait, why is it not?
Yeah, common law is law that's generally decided by courts.
Yeah.
And so remember, there's precedent. That was another word that you need to know. And you need to know the difference between persuasive precedent and binding precedent.
Isn't persuasive is like when they persuade you to do something?
So yeah, so persuasive precedent is something you're trying to convince the court with, but they don't have to follow persuasive precedent. Binding precedent is
They
something
gotta follow.
the court has to follow. So binding precedent is when a court decides something, it's binding on all the lower courts below it. But let's say that I'm here in the state of Florida and we decide in the state of Florida that, I don't know, let me think of some stupid law that here in Florida we would do. I don't know. I can't even think of it at the moment. But in the state of Florida, we make a decision. And then my friend Alex is up there in the beautiful state of Georgia, and he commits the same crime, or he brings suit for the same reason. His lawyer might say, look what they're doing in Florida. Well, the judge in the Georgia court does not have to listen to what the Florida court is saying, because Florida courts aren't binding on Georgia courts. That might be persuasive precedent. They might decide they want to follow their sister state that's next door, but they're not required to do that. Does that make sense?
Yes. It's kind of off topic, but I was always wondering, can a state inside the U.S. go to war with another state inside the U.S.?
No.
All right. I was just
We
wondering.
tried that once, remember?
Yeah, I know we tried. I told him like this, like,
And-
we believe in this.
And I'll tell you, I'll give you the legal answer to it, why it's no longer okay. There's nothing in the Constitution that says one state can't go to war with another state. But what happened is, in 1869, Texas decided they wanted to secede from the Union again. And Texas, this case went all the way up to the Supreme Court of the United States. And through the power of judicial review, the Supreme Court of the United States said states do not have the right to secede from the Union once they're a part of the Union. So now, in 1869, which is post-Civil War, the Supreme Court has told us we can no longer do that. We can't make war on each other. We can't secede and move away.
I just always wondered that.
Why? Who do you want to make war on? Where do you live, Florida or Georgia?
Florida.
Who do you want to make war on, Georgia?
No, nobody. I'm a peaceful guy. So, all right, I got all those definitions.
There were some more that I wanted to tell you too. Remember, we went over stare decisis,
Yeah, I remember it.
and we went over all the different kinds of jurisdiction.
Mhm.
We also went over class action suit, what a class action suit is. We talked about an answer, an appeal, a complaint. All of those are in chapter 3. There's a lot of vocab in chapter 3. We talked about the writ of certiorari.
What was it?
The writ of certiorari.
R-I.
Writ is W-R-I-T.
Okay.
Of certiorari. Actually, it's on page 50 in your textbook,
Thank you.
so you don't have to try to spell it all out again. I'm gonna, are there any other questions? I'm gonna pull up some questions that I think are like good examples of what you're gonna see on Thursday.
Can you maybe also make a quick review over like the sources of law? Like this one class we had like Fed and State Constitution, then English common law and all of them.
Yeah, so the basic law of any state or government is a constitution. That's the definition of a constitution. That's the basic law of a nation or state. And then there's different ways that laws can be made. So one is it's in the Constitution. Another way law can be made is that it can be made by a legislature. And when a legislature makes a law, does anyone know what those laws are called? I think this is actually a question on the test. Those are called statutes. Not statue like a pigeon poops on it, but statute, okay? And then there can be administrative and executive laws where either the governor, if we're talking about a state, or the president with an executive order writes a law into being, or an executive agency like the FDA passes a ruling or makes a law. Those are all laws and legal and binding. Also, another way we have law, law comes from the common law, which are cases that have been decided before, other court cases that may or may not be binding on that court. And then also another way that law is decided is through the courts themselves when they interpret a statute or one of the other executive orders or something in the common law, and they use that power of judicial review, then they're making law themselves. That's court-made law. Is that good, or was that a little convoluted? Good.
Yeah.
Anything else? Before I ask you all some questions. Really, this is a good moment to ask me whatever it is that's on your mind. Keon wants to secede from the Union, make war in another state. Anything else going on that I should know about? Y'all are so quiet this morning. Diego, you drinking mate?
Yes, ma'am. Every morning.
I could tell.
Yeah, it keeps me awake.
I recognized it.
Have you ever tried it?
I did. I love it. Yeah, it does. It gets you going.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
Like, because it's so hot and it burns your tongue.
You can get used to it.
I'm trying to minimize this, but it's not letting me minimize it because The computer is being a giant pain in the butt right now. Mhm. Oh, shoot. Well, what I would like to do is get into your questions here. Okay, I don't know where you all just went. I can't see anybody anymore, but anyway, I'm going to ask you all a few questions right from the test, okay? Okay. Oh, here's another vocab word. This is coming right from the test that you need to know. Equitable remedies. Types of equitable remedies.
Dang.
Name some types of equitable remedies that you think might exist.
You give me a definition of that real quick?
An equitable remedy is a remedy that requires a party to do something or to refrain from doing something. It's not about the payment of money. This is like when I mentioned the other day, like I wanted an injunction to stop my neighbor from having wild parties at 3 a.m.
So like a pretty much how a rule is created.
Yeah, but these are specific kinds of orders that a judge can give. Like I just gave you one. One of them is an injunction. What other
Oh, so like,
things might you get a judge to ask you, a judge to grant? Like what kind of things would you ask for besides money?
restraining order?
A restraining order is an equitable remedy, correct?
Custody of like a child.
Yeah, okay. That's an equitable remedy. So didn't I give you all the example of somebody has tremendous skill for making t-shirts and I only want that person to make my shirts or to do my surgery? Did we talk about that?
Is it like the promise of expertise or something like that?
Right, it's specific performance because of the expertise of a particular person. A specific performance. It's making somebody do something because of their promise, because they've got an unusual skill. Money, when you ask for money, that's not an equitable remedy. That's known as damages.
Because you're breaking somebody's pockets.
I'm sorry?
Because you're breaking somebody's pockets.
Well, no, damages is just anything. When damages is just money, nothing necessarily has to be damaged. It's just called damages. So, I mean, if I, it's any money remedy. It's like, you know, I've caused you whiplash and I've got to pay for your pain and suffering. That's damages. I don't know if I answered that the way you wanted me to.
Yes. Something.
But that's definitely going to appear on your test. Let's see if I can find another one that's good. You remember what each article of the Constitution is about? Article 1 does what?
It's about Bill of Rights.
No, that's the first 10 amendments. Article
Okay.
1 establishes something.
Oh, the U.S. Never mind, I'm tripping. The
Legislative branch?
I'm sorry?
The legislature branch? Something like
Right, the legislative branch. Article 2 is what?
Executive branch.
Executive, good. Article 3 does what?
Established the Supreme Court.
The judicial branch. And so that's also the branch that gives you the right to a trial by jury for crimes. And that's all listed in Article 3. So if you commit a crime, you get to have a jury of your peers sit in judgment of you. You don't get just judged by a judge or by somebody from the government. Theoretically, that's a big improvement. Okay, courts with the power to hear any kind of case have what kind of jurisdiction?
Say that one more time.
Courts with the power to hear any kind of case have what kind of jurisdiction?
Criminal.
No, that's for criminal. Any
Oh.
kind of case.
Arrangement.
No.
Is it like general?
Step in a trial.
Is it like general?
General.
General jurisdiction, right. General jurisdiction. If they can hear any kind of case, that's general jurisdiction. There's a lot of vocabulary. Don't scramble it up. Let's see.
So I kind of lost my notebook for this class. So
Oh, no. How'd you lose your notebook when you're doing everything from home?
I don't know. Last place I had it was on my bed, and I was not on my bed no more.
It's got to be in your room.
I've been looking all morning for it.
It's not like somebody broke in and stole your business law notebook. Nobody wants it.
I mean, it's black. It's probably landing name or something. Or I'm just looking over it.
Let's see. I already told you this one. Can the Supreme Court of the United States ever have original jurisdiction?
No.
Yes.
Yes, it can.
Dang.
Yep. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I like this one. I'm asking you these right from the test, so. Okay, a probate court or a claims court is examples of courts with what kind of jurisdiction?
Specialized jurisdiction.
Mm-hmm. Good. Very good. Told you that one already. Who typically conducts a direct examination during the discovery process?
The prosecutor.
Yes, the plaintiff's attorney. Yes. Okay. Let's see if I've got this. All right, what's natural law theory?
Oh, that's the what we go by. Like our personal laws, pretty much.
Mm-mm.
Dang. What is that? Ethics?
Look it up. You don't have to know it right now. Look it up. Natural law theory. It's in chapter 1. I promise you it's on the test.
Can I give you the Google definition?
Huh? I'm not
Can I
giving you the definition. Look it up. Nobody knows it.
I give you the Siri definition.
Yeah, you're going to ask Siri?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Siri.
All right, go ahead and ask Siri. Where would we get rights like the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly? First Amendment. That's in the Bill of Rights. The first 10 are the Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights. Let's see. True or false? All states are required to adopt uniform laws, like the Uniform Commercial Code.
Say that one more time. You're on mic. Broke up.
Okay, true or false? All states are required to adopt uniform laws, like the Uniform Commercial Code?
True.
I was gonna say that's false.
Yeah.
Why would you
definitely.
say that's false?
Well, because not all states have to be the
The
same,
government.
right?
Yeah, I like that answer better. One state doesn't have to do what every other state does. Remember, we're a federalism. We're a land of 50 states. All states don't have to have the same laws.
Yeah, isn't that like, you know, when you look up like how each state has their own dumb laws?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing is required for a state to adopt. Every state gets to adopt what laws it wants to adopt. Let's see. Was our democracy set up by the Articles of Confederation?
That's true or false?
I don't know. I'm just asking you a question.
Uh,
Do the Articles of Confederation set up our democracy? Something to ponder.
Can I say it like it was a foundation?
Yeah, it was like the first like constitution before the constitution.
It was our first constitution. Did it set up our democracy?
I think, no, I don't think it did, right? Didn't it have, or wasn't it like, didn't it like have ideas that weren't leaning towards a democracy or something like
Yeah,
that?
that's really good.
Okay, yeah, it didn't have ideas that were leaning towards a democracy. And then, you know,
Oh, you're a smart kid.
that's that child's education.
See, that's why we all moved to the 12 zip code. That's it right there.
That's right.
I hope my daughter's learning all this.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's see. I think I'm gonna let that go and let you all ask specific questions again. Oops. I'm sorry, I have somebody in the waiting room and I had this down and I didn't even see you. Poor thing. Anything else? I am so sorry, Ayla. I had my thing minimized and I couldn't see you and I couldn't see the chat and I couldn't see someone asking me to let you in. I apologize. I don't want you to think I was specifically dismissing you. I feel terrible now.
No, you're good. Thank you.
I should have set up 2 computers at once. I apologize. Anything else, guys, that you want me to go over that you think might be on the test and you're a little confused about? Because remember, it's going to show up again on your midterm. It's going to show up again on your final. So is there anything else that you want me to go over?
The only cases that I have written down are the Heart of Atlanta Hotel and the Griswold versus Connecticut. Could you just maybe name off a few more that you said were going to be mentioned?
Yeah, Katzenbach versus McClung. I know we talked about that one. And we talked about Roe versus Wade.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I don't want you memorizing a whole bunch of cases. I mean, that's not necessary, but it was just a couple examples. Anything else?
So the essay is going to be about the cases.
The essay is going to be about the cases and judicial review.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not lying. I'm being totally upfront with you what it's going to be. Shoot, I mean, I basically have told you what the essay question is, you know. I mean, that's it right there. I'm not being obtuse. You can prepare your essay ahead of time and write it on Thursday, whatever you want to do. It's not like you have to just come up with it, you know, on your own on Thursday. You could be thinking about it now and writing it now and have it ready to go. I mean, I probably would because you've only got 90 minutes on Thursday. So if you want to have it ready to go, have it ready to go.
How long is the window going to be for the test?
24 hours.
Yeah, I
Oh.
know, but like when does it start and when does it end? Like
So I think I've got it opened at midnight,
okay.
and then I think I have it go till like 11:59 that night. It's like a 24-hour window.
Okay, yes, ma'am. And when is this going to be posted? The lecture that you're recording right now?
Well, if God willing, everything works with the internet and the computer, because I have CenturyLink, and one only knows what can happen day to day with CenturyLink. Then I'm going to try to send you all the link today. I say that because sometimes I've had to try it like 3 times before I can get a link. It's like horrible. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to do my very best to send this to you today.
Is your YouTube page private?
I marked it as public, but I've only told you guys about it because I feel really weird having anything of mine on YouTube. It should be like YouTube Bonnie Berggren, something like that.
Because that's the case thing, I just type up your name and then hopefully it'll pop up.
Hopefully nothing else weird pops up about me. I'm not real comfortable being on any kind of social media, so.
You might see some videos of you as a child.
No, we didn't have all these smartphones and stuff back then. I grew up in the home movie days. There's no movies of me as a child. See, that's the difference between my generation and your generation. All the stupid stuff we did in high school and college, nobody recorded it. You guys have it all documented. Okay, is there anything else, guys? I'm not trying to rush you. I mean, I've got all day. I want you all to be comfortable.
No, I think we're all good.
Are we all good?
I think we all know. I think we're all feeling confident in this test.
Very, very confident.
Which is Jacob's way of saying, you know what? It's 10:10. It's rainy outside. We all just really want to go back to bed.
You know.
All right. I'll stop the recording and then you can answer that honestly.